Hello everyone, this is Venus Brown of Diverse Spectrums. Today in our Digging Deeper episode, we're going to discuss whether to play or not to play the new Harry Potter game. Hello everyone, this is Venus Brown of Diverse Spectrums. Today in our Digging Deeper episode, we're going to discuss whether to play or not to play the new Harry Potter game. The image from better times, when one of our favorite authors wasn't engaging in openly transphobic behaviors, and purchasing Harry Potter products like it often occurred, and purchasing Harry Potter products like it often occurred without a second thought. The image from better times, when one of our favorite authors wasn't engaging in openly transphobic behavior, when one of our favorite authors wasn't engaging in openly transphobic behaviors, and purchasing Harry Potter products like it often occurred without a second thought. Those times we took for granted and now are never likely. Let me be clear. In this house, we have three of us who are what I would consider gender variant, who exist in various planes of the LGBTQ plus spectrum. In this house, we have three of us who are what I would call gender variant, who exist in various planes of the LGBTQ plus spectrums. JK Rowling's actions in this regard have been devastating and thoroughly changed our thought process when it comes to any kind of support for present and future Harry Potter or the Wizarding World products, events, and entertainment. My transgender son and non-binary child are the most heavily affected by this reality, both who choose not to engage with anything new that involves the author in creation, input, and direct financial gain. Yet when it comes to old products, new things that didn't directly involve the author, and where her only income is from passive royalties that she receives with the name or from the franchise, their choices are a little bit more challenging, more muddied. The Hogwarts Legacy was a long-awaited video game that our entire household was excited to start playing. But Rowling's actions really put that into question. Could we support such a purchase, playing a game that will likely elevate her already huge platform, which she chooses to use in ways that harm the trans communities? And other gender variant people, such as myself and my children, which she chooses to use in ways that harm the trans community and other gender variant people, such as myself and my children. When it was all said and done, my husband and brother-in-law purchased copies without it. When it was all said and done, my husband and brother-in-law purchased copies without our input, and both my trans kids are now happily enjoying the game. But I still haven't decided whether I am prepared to do that. But I'm still undecided whether I'm prepared to do that. Warner Brothers, Avalanche, those involved in the game creation, and other fans are facing a similar challenge in deciding what to do about the baggage of the original Harry Potter series creator. After JK Rowling's repeated disparaging remarks about trans women, trans advocates, frankly, the entire gender variant community, some feel that any financial support of products that involve her should be avoided. While she claims to have excuses for her actions, those excuses demonstrate those excuses tra- those excuses demonstrate transphobic misinformation, fear, and hatred for the people that have no bearing on the past events that she tries to use to excuse herself. Her platform, her actions, and her direct advocacy of far-right leaning groups and women who intentionally exclude trans women from their advocacy has been very harmful to the trans community and other marginalized groups, even cisgender straight women. As reported in Vulture, the game's creators have attempted to make an inclusive game. As reported in Vulture, the game's creators have attempted to make an inclusive game, welcoming to all players. One that is quality, loyal to source materials, but not directly involving the author. And one that is finally actually fun. Still, they cannot avoid the reality that Rawlings gets royalties from any franchise products. Not only has Rawlings said, texted, tweeted, and written transphobic comments, as stated by Jesse Earl, who also goes by the handle Jessie Gender. She has actively supported transphobic people and organizations. She has actively used her massive platform to harm some of the most vulnerable, marginalized communities, with the excuse that she is concerned for natal girls, claiming trans rights could harm them and accusing trans girls of intentionally trying to harm them. Her activism against the trans community has at times harmed the whole LGBTQ plus umbrella and women's rights as well. This places fans and former fans in an awkward position, having to decide whether to support a franchise they once loved, maybe still love, a game they've been waiting for, or whether to stop such support or avoid such support to avoid benefiting Rowling's, her massive platform, her transphobic fans, and trans exclusionary groups, financially or otherwise. Okay, let's try that again. or avoid such support to avoid benefiting Rawlings, her massive platform, her transphobic fans, and trans exclusionary groups, financially or otherwise. As similarly indicated in a Game Rant article, she has placed her transphobic comments so directly in the path of the Hogwarts Legacy game. Hold on, I think. Okay. Not only, okay, I gotta go back up to the Jesse Earl comment and change images from there. Not only has Rawlings said, texted, tweeted, and written transphobic comments as stated by Jesse Earl, who also goes by the handle Jessie Gender. She has actively supported transphobic people and organizations. She has actively used her massive platform to harm some of the most vulnerable, marginalized communities, with the excuse that she is concerned for natal girls, claiming trans rights could harm them, and accusing trans girls of intentionally trying to harm them. Her activism against the trans community has at times harmed the whole LGBTQ+ umbrella, and women's rights as well. Okay, now I need to find it. It's that one. Okay. Before we do that, let's go back there. Okay. This places fans and former fans in an awkward position, having to decide whether to support a franchise they once loved, maybe still love, a game they've been waiting for, or whether to stop such support or avoid such support. To avoid benefiting Rawlings, her massive platform, her transphobic fans, and trans exclusionary groups, financially or otherwise. To avoid benefiting Rawlings, her massive platform, her transphobic fans and exclusionary groups, financially or okay. To avoid benefiting Rawlings, her massive platform, her transphobic fans, and trans exclusionary groups, financially or otherwise. As similarly indicated in a Game Rant article, she has placed her transphobic comments so directly in the path of the Hogwarts Legacy game that wide support of the game could be taken as tolerance for such transphobia, and give the idea that she can engage in such transphobia without consequence. Some may feel that boycotts will not have any real influence, that her Herculean platform and income won't be dented. But some may feel that it's the morality of the thing. Continued support shows at best complacency, at worst approval, and allows her They may feel that continued support shows at best complacency, at worst approval, and allows her to maintain her platform and influence. Yet I think the reality is more complicated. Some of these previous and current fans have been through incomprehensible experiences, trauma, or just tough life situation, or just tough life situations. And this series, these characters, this imaginary world has helped uncountable amounts of survivors to get through things that some may not even be able to imagine, that some may not even be able to imagine. What a tragedy that this once seemingly heroine figure is bringing about trauma and preventing similar realities for other struggling humans. I think this is reflected in a comment in a Screen Rant article. Where director Alan Tu was quoted by IGN saying, quote, "We know our fans fell in love with the wizarding world, and we believe they fell in love with it for the right reasons." We know that's a diverse audience. For us, it's making sure that the audience who always dreamed of having this game had the opportunity to feel welcomed back, that they have a home here, and that it's a good place to tell their story. End quote. While some of us may feel a boycott is our only way to use our voice, some of us may be using this imaginary world to find our voice, to escape our realities, or to pull through tough circumstances. I guess it really is up to each of us where we choose to land on this issue. And maybe some don't really have a lot of choice. It's not up to me or anyone else to decide, except the individual, who hopefully has the autonomy and the ability to choose for themselves. Okay. It's not up to me or anyone else, except the individual, who hopefully has the autonomy and ability to choose for themselves. Notice how I used themselves as a singular? It really isn't new to use they, them pronouns in singular individual circumstances. It really isn't new to use they, them pronouns in singular individual circumstances. Just something to consider if you don't feel they, them can be used for singular individuals as a singular pronoun.